everyone is very afraid about offending the bestiality nonce, and this is not a nonce who nonces on puppies or something. No, instead, this is a nonce who also engages in bestiality. And you can see the dispatch here from Rory, because we have the dispatches on the website for sort of breaking news, and the headline being, "Woman, in quotes, 60, jailed after raping Alsatian." Yeah,
Are we allowed to swear?
I will try and keep it to a minimum, I suppose. But anyway, a biological Cheshire man, identifying as a woman, has been jailed after taking part in what prosecutors called a cocaine-fueled sex orgy with an Alsatian. Transgender Cheshire man Claire Goodyear, formerly known as John, was convicted for the possession of child pornography in 2006-2009 and had been visited by the police at his home at July 19th, 2019, who carried out a routine sex offenders register check. According to Cheshire Standard, officers took a laptop that contained evidence that Goodyear had had scoured the internet for bestiality content. A full analysis conducted by the officers later found hidden folders on the offender's laptop containing some 31 indecent images of a sex act with a Alsatian dog. Upon being arrested on June 17th this year, police reportedly found in Goodyear's handbag, a USB containing the same images and 3.5 grams of cocaine.
Oh.
I mean, what a story.
Yeah. I mean, the cocaine bit is by far the least bad.
No, but I mean, could you get a worse human being doing worse things? I mean, no.
No.
I mean, maybe if they were actually, physically noncing instead of collecting images and raping a dog, quite frankly, maybe, but that's about it. I mean, this is one of the scummiest people on the planet. Anyway, in the trial in Cheshire Crown Court on Wednesday, Paulinus Barnes, prosecuting, said that Goodyear had admitted to the possession of the images. So he just said, "You got me, governor," which, yeah, they do. And the quote from the prosecutor here, she said she had fantasized about it for a number of years, and after talking about it with people in Norwich, was put in contact with others in Bournemouth. She travelled down there in December 2018 and took part in the sex act with other people and the Alsatian dog.
Who was this? Stonewall that she met with?
The prosecutor is Stonewall. They're using the pronouns. I don't want to offend the defendant, who is charged with being a nonce, well, convicted of being a nonce, and charged with raping a dog. No. We'll make sure we use the correct pronouns, shall
Yes.
we? Right. Okay. But also, it's disgusting to see that apparently there is some kind of dog trafficking in the UK.
Well, the sad thing is that this is perfectly in keeping with the genderqueer theory of sexuality, isn't it? Like, nothing is off limits. Everything's gendered.
Oh, do expand.
Yes. Well, think about it. If you negate biological sex as a reference, then there's no limits to what you can interpret as masculine or feminine or a sort of or an object of attraction. Anything that kind of expresses itself in a certain way. If you see kind of an attraction in that and you see something performative that stimulates a sexual attraction, then you are oppressed if you are not allowed to pursue that. So there is actually intrinsic to intersectionalism is an argument that this is fine. So this is
not even fine, that she is an oppressed minority.
Yes, quite.
Dog effer.
Yeah.
I really want to swear in this one, but we're
yes.
going to try not to.
Me too.
Hell, man. Anyway, but yeah, that's why queer theory is garbage. I mean, it also goes with the nonce stuff as well.
Burn
it gets so many nonces.
Burn it.
And as I've mentioned before, I mean, this is why the queer wars are a thing as well in the alphabet community. So they also continue. Simon Mills, defending, said his client had always been frank and honest before calling on the judge to consider another suspended sentence. So apparently the child porn stuff, they didn't go to prison for it. And then this one is like, wow, well, no, this time we've got to send you to jail. I would have thought the first one.
Why didn't they go to prison the first time?
They've got a suspended sentence or something. I don't know what the argument is. Frankly, it sounds like some of the other cases we've seen in which they're just like, yes, well, the defendant may be a nonce, but they are transgender. Because I remember that there was even a case of that in Swindon. Like the local court, someone went down there and was like, I think they were. I want to say something that's wrong, but they were charged with something noncery, either being a nonce or having nonce images. And then in court, they were like, yes, but if I go to prison, I'm transgender. I could be abused.
Oh, of course.
And then the judge was like, well, fair enough.
And that's hence the suspended sentence. Yes, I see it now.
I don't know about this case. I assume the same, but I don't know. So the quote from them, this incident took place some 3 years ago. The picture is now one of sporadic offending. This is not a case where the offending is getting more and more serious. She will do everything asked of her by the court, and there are tentative signs of improvement in her attitude and approach. I don't believe it, but also the she's mentioned throughout in these quotes, because the court case was done in a foreign language, apparently. in which we don't recognize the reality and instead recognize the political correct reality, which is that the nonce dog rapist is an oppressed minority and therefore deserves special treatment about how we refer to them. And we should all be very careful about such things. And as you can see with Rory there, not having it. But we go over to the other media outlets, and we can check GB News here, who did what's the standard thing here, which is saying trans woman jailed for cocaine-fueled sex with a dog. I say the standard thing as if this is a standard headline, but whatever. But trans woman being the argument of, a man who thinks he's a woman, wants to be a woman, and therefore is referred to as a trans woman. Okay. They mention here, of course, that Claire was previously known as John, so making it clear that this is a transgender person or someone who says they're a woman. And, well, that's not how the rest of the media report it. And I'm saying left or right as well, apparently. So if we go to the Mirror, so the Mirror being a socialist left-wing outlet, I mean, just openly, they've always spoiled the Labour Party whenever they can, except when things get way too bad, and they're like, hang on a second, I may end up poor. Going back to old history there. But anyway, what did they go with? They went with the headline, Woman jailed over cocaine-fueled sex with a dog in disgusting incident. No quotes. No, like all little quotes around the woman part or trans woman. No, just a woman.
I mean, how good of them for at least thinking to include the word disgusting in it. You'd almost think that would be crossing a line for the Mirror, wouldn't you?
Yeah, they'd be like, well, it is an oppressed minority group. I mean, if you could scroll back up just to the face, I'm sure people have seen. But yeah, I don't know how you publish this with a straight face and not just think about what you're doing with your
they
life.
haven't even tried to compromise the resolution so they can at least cover up the beard.
Anyway, you can see the stubble in HD, which is evident. Anyway, moving down. So let's go for just some of the random quotes out of here, which I picked out to make the point that they not once even admit that this person is transgender and all the rest of it. Not even once. So some other quotes. Claire Goodyear of Norwich, Cheshire, was described as manipulative and deceitful by a probation officer. She took part in a sickening act with another adult. The judge said she had been astonishingly lucky to avoid previous spells behind bars. Pauline Barnes, prosecuting, said the police had called her home to carry out routine checks. Again, her home, on the fact that she's a sex offender. She. See, even I'm falling into it now. He. When she committed the sex act between the 15th and 16th of December, Goodyear had also been in breach of her suspended sentence order. Judge Everett told Goodyear that he did not agree with the probation service assessing her as a low-risk reoffending prisoner and sent her to prison. He told her, "You're a long, long way from changing your life." Goodyear sobbed in the dock as she was sentenced to Cheshire Crown Court on December 22nd, with the judge jailing her for 20 months. Her, she, her.
It's almost as if they're actually trying to break the world record for how many pronouns you can actually fit in a paragraph.
Yeah, I mean, how polite can we be to the nonce rapist of a dog? Why? Why bother, frankly? Questions have to be asked. Why are you so concerned with this? Well, of course, it's because of their ideology. If we go back to the Mirror, John, just to make the point as well, if you can scroll up and down on that, just so people can go check out for themselves. I didn't find a single reference in there to the point that this person is transgender as well.
Yeah.
Not one. Not even just trans woman. No, not even going to do that. Just woman. Woman.
Yeah. To transmit the idea, this has nothing to do with the intersectional ideology, which, as I tried to explain, it does.
Yeah, but even to the point of, you could read GB News and I can see why some people would be annoyed at even the phrase trans woman there. Just like, no, it's bloke. Stop pissing around. And I get that argument. But, at least they're making it clear that you can see that this is not a woman.
Yeah.
Don't piss about. And but with the Mirror went just nothing. No information whatsoever except the image. They're not even going to admit to themselves that this is clearly a farce. And instead just make you try, or at least make you try and believe the absolute nonsense that this is definitely a woman, 100%. Zero mention of her penis, presumably. I don't know how the dog was raped either, but I don't want to know. So we'll leave that at that. But again, how do you rape a dog? As a woman? I don't know. There were some responses I saw. Some people were saying, like, this is why men are scared to walk the streets at night because of women like this.
I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I did hear this from someone. But isn't it actually... I mean, can you be charged with rape as a woman?
I don't think so, no.
I don't think you can.
I thought you could, and then when I go and checked it, and some people corrected me, apparently in British law, no.
Yeah, because I heard that from a lawyer as well.
Which,
and it's needless to say, they haven't mentioned this once either.
Don't worry, you can rape a dog as a woman apparently now.
Now it makes sense.
Yes, anyway. But there's also the point that was raised. I saw some people joking, but half joking about the fact, well, if he had just come in and been like, you know what, I identify as a dog, could he claim that this wasn't bestiality? Is the court going to play along with that and give the correct pronouns for this trans species human?
Well, but by extension, it would fit within the ideology, wouldn't it?
But that's, and we can all say, well, obviously that's ridiculous. But yeah, we all accept that the judge and the prosecutor and the defending lawyer and the media here in the case.
And if one identifies as a dog, one can also lay claim that the dog consented. God, this is getting dark.
But this is the thing. This is why I wanted to cover it, because just look at the logic you're running into. And this is a real case in the UK that went to court. Educated people, not idiots, people who have gone through to the point of being a judge or a lawyer, they spent all their time, and they come into the courtroom, and they're looking at this dog rapist and being like, yes, so she is very sorry for raping the dog. And everyone plays along with it. I mean, I can see why the Eastern Europeans just look at us and just think we're mad. And quite frankly, you should build like an iron curtain to keep out the West at this point, which who can blame them?
Yeah,
anyway.
And well, some have even made the case, and it seems more compelling every day, I'm afraid to say, that this is perhaps why Muslims hate us so much.
What happens in the West doesn't stay in the West. They see what we're up to, and they cringe as much as say we do. Except they then start thinking, there's something wrong with the West. Maybe they deserve X, Y, or Z. And
I should say that's why the terrorists hate us so much, not the Muslims. But
honestly, I think average people in Arabia also look at this and just think, what the fuck is wrong with the West?
Yeah.
And they're justified in thinking that at least. Anyway, moving on. So let's go to the next one as well, which is the Sun, which is purportedly some right-wing outlet. I think they're just a corporate outlet, quite frankly. But as you can see, the Scottish Sun here. They also went after Dankula a lot back in the day because they're scum. And they, again, also went with the idea of, if you can scroll down on this, John, for the headline. Just paedophile. Just trans woman. No, I mentioned that. Claire Goodyear, 60. Yep. Her, she, again, all the way through, just her and she. Just no quotes, no pointing out the realities.
No reference to the likely source of the mental instability that has caused all of this.
Except the image. You can look at the image. But it's like weird Soviet propaganda where they're saying things and then providing you with an image that obviously contours what they say. The she, her, she, her, she, her. And then just expect you to believe it. I mean, it really is something insane when we are presenting with the image of the reality and all the text around the image contours reality. And they expect you to look at that and go, oh, rightio, fair enough. Yeah, the rise in female rapists and dog rapists is just skyrocketing in the UK at random, I suppose.
What you just described was the phenomenon of reification.
There you are. Anyway, so let's go to the next one. So we have some random retards on Twitter as well, of course, who are all upset about the fact that GB News even said that this was a trans woman. It is. It's a dude who thinks he's a woman. Anyway, if we click on some of these just to make the point, these are just random retards. But, that's twitter.com for you, hammer and sickle in bio. Again, always. And them being very mad, they're like, this is a campaign to make people think trans women are rapists. I was like, why would you need to do that? Also, like, if a man had done this, or a normal woman had done this, you'd still run the story because it's being insane.
Well, if a man had done this, no doubt they would have jumped on this, like they did with the Sarah Everard case, to claim that this is an expression of patriarchal tyranny, whilst also claiming that, well, anyone can identify as a man anyway.
I'm sure some of the radical TERFs will definitely be doing that, which is, look at this male rapist.
Yes, and well, in this case, they would be right.
Oh, in this particular individual, yeah. I mean, hell. But, God. Anyway, if we just skip through these so you can just go through the images to show the multiple, retards. But I mean, there are always retards on Twitter, isn't there? I'm going to keep using that word for these people because, come on. They're looking at this and being like, you know what the real problem is here?
The TERFs.
Misgendering the dog rapist. What's wrong with you? Anyway, so let's go to the next one here, which is the Daily Mail. So the Daily Mail actually did have a little bit of a leak out of this. So they spoke to someone from the court system and they found out where they're going, which is female prison? No. Apparently we learned that lesson. They're going to male prison.
They're going to male prison.
Yeah. So in here, transgender paedophile, 60, who was jailed for 20 months for having cocaine-fueled sex with a dog, is sent to male prison because she is not legally a man. Sorry, not legally a woman. So,
is that the language used?
Again, I don't know why they use she there. But
yes.
Whatever. At least they mentioned that the person is transgender.
Because she is legally, the
bare bloody minimum, I guess. Anyway, so in here they say the Mail Online has learnt that the defendant, twice convicted of possessing indecent images of children, has been sent to HMP Old Course. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. It is a Category B men's private prison and young offenders institution situated in Liverpool. A source told the Mail Online, prisoners go to whichever prison matches their legally recognised gender. This defendant is in a male prison, HMP Old Course. The jail is where Man City star Benjamin Mendy is currently being on remand ahead of his multiple rape trial next year. So they could be bunkmates or something, I suppose. Anyway.
I'm sure they'll get along.
Yeah. But there's also just the point there made by the source, which is that they're meant to go to their legally recognized gender kind of prison. So they're legally recognized as a woman, then they can go to the women's prison. And this is all just a bit of paperwork. So the only reason this man has been sent to a male prison is not because he's a man, but instead because he's legally a man. But he can legally change that to being a woman if he just files the Gender Recognition Act and gets the verification from the government. Still nothing technically stopping the dog rapist.
Right, and should that happen, they'd be transferred to another prison?
Presumably a woman's prison. God knows what's stopping him. Goodyear was identified in the court listings under the male name, but was added with a note saying that they were to be addressed in the hearing as Claire. A sexual harm prevention order was issued under that female identity, not under the male one, even though sending him to a male prison. What the hell? Like, what the hell is intersectionality done to our justice service? Anyway, the Gender Recognition Act 2004 allows people to legally change their sex and obtain gender recognition certification proving it, which isn't correct. Again, a bit of fake news by the Daily Mail there. It's legally changing your gender, not sex. You can't change your sex legally or physically. It can't be done. Anyway, but at least, I suppose, on this story, we do have a little bit of a partisan difference to some extent, or at least a measurable one, let's say. So if we go to the next link here, you can see joe.co.uk. For people who don't know or don't follow it enough, Joe is just an openly leftist outlet, and they promote absolute crap from the Labour Party. And this is an example of it, in which they got an exclusive interview with Lisa Nandy to ask her about
whether...
Can't
wait to see this.
The question on his mind is, should rapists, male rapists, who believe they're women, be sent to female prisons?
You'd think that would be an easy question to answer, wouldn't you?
I'm going to go with no. I don't know what your opinion is on this. I assume no. And that's not Lisa Nandy's. Let's play the clip.
Someone stood up and asked you a question, and they asked you about the case of a person who had raped a child and then since self-identified as a woman, and whether that person should then be imprisoned with other women. You said yes. Can you explain why?
Well, I didn't say that he should be or she should be imprisoned with other women, but the question was, does a person who self-identifies as a woman have the right to be accommodated in a women's prison? And the answer to that is yes, but not with other women. We would never accommodate violent offenders alongside other prisoners and other non-violent offenders. There are serious questions about safety in women's prisons that go way beyond this issue, and they're some of the things that we really ought to be talking about and ought to be tackling and haven't had enough attention in recent years. And actually one of the positive things about this leadership campaign is the fact that Keir, Becky, me, Emily, Jess and Clive all say the same thing. Every single person who stood to be leader of the Labour Party believes in that principle.
What principle?
That rapists should be in female prisons, but that females shouldn't be in female prisons. I don't even know. That's just a transgender prison then.
That's just the most ridiculous exhibition of intersectional Olympics newspeak that I've ever seen. Right,
it's almost as bad as what was it, Joe Swinson being asked what a woman is, and she's like, "Well, women use the loos." I was like, okay, that's a start. Let's move forward on that. Just, what a mess. Again, you also saw at the start there. Lisa Nandy goes, she. Again, we're talking about a nonce, and you're like, I don't want to offend them. I don't want to misgender the nonce. What's wrong with them? And also the point, of course, that everyone in the Labour Party agrees on that.
Yeah, well, as far as I'm concerned, anyone who is arguing for why male rapists should be emancipated in female prisons is in no position to speak on the welfare of women whatsoever.
No, they honestly, they should not exist.
The Labour Party are an insult to humanity on this. They really are.
And I am mad, as most people should be, that the prison service run by the Conservatives, I don't know who the Conservative prison minister is right now, but they ought to have this solved and should have solved it ages ago, which is just, no, prisons are done by sex, not gender, go away, go to hell.
Wouldn't be difficult to impose.
No, same thing with the passports. You may remember the recent passport case. Sex on your passport, not gender, so get lost was the conclusion. But we do have some let's say, sanity, at least from Priti Patel on this. So Priti Patel, been criticised for a lot of things, fair enough, but on this, she is correct. Home Secretary Priti Patel orders woke police forces to stop recording offences as female crime statistics. So if a man who says he's a woman rapes someone, the police are instructed, at least in England, I don't know what is happening in Scotland, to say, no, that is a man. We're not having this crap.
Well, that's a good start.
Yeah, I mean, you can see at least the right opinion being there, which is that, no, we're not messing around with this.
Yeah.
I don't care if you misgender the rapist. They're a rapist who gives a... Anyway, I mean,
Yeah, but this still, I mean, this still wouldn't have any weight if they had, I don't know. Again, I mean, how would this work in practice? In order for them to be recognised as a woman raping another woman, they would need to have that backing from the health services.
But it reminds me again of one of the various problems within the grooming gang scandals in the UK, which is that they didn't want to imprison Muslim rapists because, well, they were Muslim, and therefore it would be politically incorrect because, well, we'd be arresting brown people, and that would be racist. It's like, I don't care. I don't even care if you get called a racist or look like a racist. The dude's a rapist, a nonce rapist. And instead, no, not even going to do that. They let it become worse and worse. Apparently still are. And at least this problem is slowly being solved. But what a story. If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters, you can go over to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the sites, such as this video, which is a speech I gave at one of our live events, in which we read Germany Must Perish. So it's also a book club review, and I won't spoil a thing. Go and enjoy. Also, if you'd like to get updates on what's coming out, you can always follow us on getter.com. That's lotuseaters_com for the @. Thank you and goodbye.